Phil Mickelson is making his 29th start this week in the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Lefty, a three-time winner of this event, missed the cut in his first start of 2018 in the Career Builder Challenge, and he finished at a tie for 45th at Torrey Pines last week, dropping him to 49th in the world. Phil has been in the top 50 since November 28th, 1993. That's a span of 24 years and 2 months. The last time Phil was outside the top 50, Nick Faldo was #1 in the world. Bernhard Langer was the reigning Masters champ, and his playing partner this week, John Rahm, well, he hadn't been born yet. What were you doing in 1993? My first year in college. I shouldn't say that. Tripp, do you expect Phil in the near future to stay in or out of the top 50 in the world?
I think he'll stay in for Phil Mickelson, even though he has been a bit sporadic. He has played well at times, and when he plays well, he plays extremely well. And, oh, by the way, Scottsdale's his backyard, his former backyard. He's had such a great career here. He's shooting a 59.5 on this golf course, shooting 60 basically twice. I think he's going to play well here. He's had 2 straight top 20s. But we got to remember, since he did win his last win at the Open, he has had 6 second-place finishes. So that's what I mean. He's still there. I'm surprised that he hasn't won again, but I think there's plenty left in the tank for Phil. Sure, he would be happy to stay inside the top 50, and I think he will. But if he doesn't, I don't think Phil's going to lose that much sleep over it.
I like the 59.5, to tell you the truth, to give credit for. Lisa, you opened up and you talked about the miscut and the tie for 45th. If you look at the 4 finishes had Phil leading up to that, tie for 6th, tie for 20th, tie for 3rd, tie for 15th, kind of on a broader picture of Phil Mickelson, putting together both PGA Tour victories and major championships. He is 9th all-time on that list on tour with, of course, 42 wins in those 5 majors once again. Those before him, Snead, Woods, Nicklaus, Hogan, Palmer, Nelson, Casper, and Hagen. His legacy is already firmly in place. I think he's going to be fine.
I think so, too. I mean, with Mickelson, it's all about, just like it is with Tiger Woods, it's about April, and then really in a bigger scope for Mickelson this year with the Grand Slam, it's about the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. And I think he's done enough to be, semi-satisfied with where his game is right now, but I don't think he's the type of guy that's going to be there week to week anyway. And he has had great moments at Torrey Pines, and he has had at Scottsdale, but that might not mean anything this time around, depending upon just where he is mentally and also with his golf.
I think he'll fire up for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, well, that one too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that Ryder Cup year is huge.
He'll get fired up to make the Ryder Cup team,
absolutely.
which will be a motivation for him.
He gets fired up for a lot of things, and that's one of the most. He's one of those players, eye-popping stats. That's what comes to mind when you think of Phil Mickelson. 45 wins worldwide, 5 majors. Of course, we all remember these dramatic moments with Phil Mickelson in these majors. He did reach a high ranking in the world of #2, never held that #1 spot. And this is so impressive, as you guys were talking about, this team play that he loves so much, made 23 straight Ryder Cup and President's Cup teams.
Absolutely.
Very impressive when it comes to that. All right, continuing the conversation with what's going on in Phoenix this week. Rosie, Mickelson will probably be a big fan of this because sometimes players talk about how pro-ams, they're a burden. The PGA Tour is doing something a little different this week.
Yeah, they are. They're offering, this is the first week of a proposed not play 9 only regulation that's been put into books, that's been voted on, and they're excited about it. The tournament chairman, Carlos Sugich of the Phoenix Thunderbirds. Sorry, I hope I didn't mispronounce that name, Carlos. Talked about how it could actually be a lot of fun, and it was interesting to me who actually signed up for the 8 holes versus the 9 holes. And there are 3 players that elected to go 8 holes. They're allowed to do that right up till commitment time. That's Charlie Hoffman, who's got I think he still has a representation deal with Waste Management, Hideki Matsuyama, and Xander Schauffele from San Diego. Now, Jordan Spieth first elected to go 18, but realized he had a conflict in his schedule with Make-A-Wish Foundation. And a byproduct of that is that he'll be one of the 9 holers. Another top 10 player changed his mind and wanted to go 18 at the end and couldn't do it because it was already filled up. Tripp, you've been out on tour. What do you think of this?
I think it's great, and I think the players are really going to like it. The tournaments are going to like it. It gives them an opportunity for the amateurs to play with more pros. It gives the pros, because a lot of pros use Wednesday as their last day of preparation, and the guys that weren't in the Pro-Am would have to run out and play before the Pro-Am and only play 9 holes. but now they'll get 9 holes later in the day, you know, if you're in the afternoon, things like that. So it's going to be a good thing for the PGA Tour. Again, it allows more people to play, and the amateurs get to play with more of the great guys on the PGA Tour, so it's a win-win.
Yeah, and I said burden. I didn't mean that. But it does allow the guys to get in more practice time right before the tournament, so maybe burden wasn't the right word.
Gives them some flexibility in the way they prepare for
Rosie,
the golf tournament
you
itself.
need to pick up my words for me. I'll turn to you next
I
time.
have Sugish here.
Oh, there you go. You did well.
Sugich.
After Jordan Spieth's
Carlos.
Pro-Am that we just talked about tomorrow, guess what? You'll get to hear from him, and we'll preview this entire event. Don't miss our news conference show tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll take you live to Phoenix for the Waste Management Phoenix Open and hear exactly what's going on. Join Revolution Golf Plus, a members-only exclusive portal to the best instruction, online specials, and game improvement plans for every golfer. Join the revolution today, revolutiongolf.com. We have another great collection of spectacular moments you won't want to miss coming up. Part 2 of the best the Waste Management Phoenix Open has had to offer over the years. Plus, Hideki Matsuyama could join the great Arnold Palmer as the only player to do this. We'll fill in that blank right around the corner on Golf Central.